on the passenger seat. It was denim bag. It's got all my gear in it.
Yeah, could you grab it for me?
Thank you.
If anybody wants coffee, we can have coffee in the back. I'm glad to see you.
Oh, yeah, I am too. That's huge.
Yes, we just you for 1 p.m. Out about 4:30, right? Kind of enjoy the worst of the traffic come home.
My lunch,
Is that your bag of tricks?
my lunch pail. You remember that?
Yeah.
You got it.
Giving it back to it?
Making a statement today.
Okay.
They won't explode, will it?
I hope not. It's been acting normal on my mantle, so it's been good. I don't think I have my packet. Do we print up this extra packet by chance, Chief?
Hey, Jenna, do you have an extra package?
I'm sorry, Jenna, it was in an envelope and. Thanks, Jenna.
Well, good morning. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order for Jackson County Fire District Number 1. Today's meeting is being recorded, and please try to reflect.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call, please.
Right, John Foster,
Here.
Randy Port,
Here.
Ron Ellis,
Here.
Jim Stern.
Here.
Craig Burns.
Here. Okay, it's time for good of the order. This is an opportunity for guests, members, or staff to bring up any topics they'd like to discuss that's not on the agenda.
Well, it looks like we made the Rogue River Press recently, not in a great way. It's the second time the union has come to us with questions and feedback, I should say, about our decorum at meetings. I'd like to address an issue that I've been having here for a long time, of bullying. I'd like to get that on a future agenda item. I'd like to have some real progress this time. It's embarrassing for us, it's embarrassing for the community, but mostly it's embarrassing for the people that work for us.
And how would you phrase that topic? The agenda.
I'm not sure. You're the chair, so
Board decorum.
if you want, so yes.
All righty. Any other comments? All right, moving on.
John, excuse me. I want to speak to the letter, but maybe not at this point in the discussion. So go ahead, but I do want to respond to the union's letter discussion at some point.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Today we have Delaney to represent the Office of Emergency Services in the presentation. All yours.
I am very tired this morning because I have a 9-year-old who's going on 17 and is summer break, so she thinks she can be up until 2 o'clock in the morning every night now. So pardon me for not being fully awake, but I believe today the chief and I had discussed, I'm providing an update on the new evacuation processes that we've been working on. I think first of all, I'm going to start off with like my biggest concerns going into this fire season specifically. I know that we all have a lot of experience within fire season, but specifically this year with the drought and then with the fuel shortages and the fertilizer supply shortages, there's a lot of issues going on across the nation, correct? For me, basically, what I'm looking at is my team is planning for all state teams to be completely wrapped up in other big incidents this year and what that looks like for Jackson County if we don't receive this support. That's like my doomsday worst nightmare. The teams being the Oregon State Fire Marshal and the ODF teams. So what my team has done this year is that we've prioritized bringing in a bunch of state resources to stage locally, and that would be for domestic and companion animals, livestock sheltering, people sheltering. The county owns 250 cots, pillows, sleeping bags, and can deploy a shelter within 5 hours, which is really awesome. I'm really proud of that work that's been done. So when it comes to evacuation processes this year, FD3 has been kind enough to put us on a tablet command. So the way it works going into evacuations is going to be, we receive a 911 phone call or somehow we're notified that there's a fire. My team starts tracking it and then a JCSO, usually sergeant or lieutenant, goes to the incident. They link up with the fire IC and create unified command, and they will contact somebody from my team who's on call to recommend an evacuation level. So law enforcement in the state of Oregon cannot force people from their homes, as you know. But under level 3, we can close down the roads once they evacuate their house, and that way they cannot re-enter a dangerous situation. Or the red zone, like we like to call it. That being said, my team does hit the button when we do hit the evacuations. This year, we have fully implemented Genesis. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, but we not only have the Everbridge account, the Jackson Alerts, which does the phone calls, text messages, emails, all that stuff. Genesis, their secret sauce was 4 or 5 years ago, we got a grant to sort of demo this thing where it broke up the entire county into zones. And that was based upon an AI looking at the mountaintops, rivers, highways, roadways, and seeing like what made sense. So some zones for cities like Wood River are pretty small. Others you'll notice in like unincorporated county, they're pretty big. And that's because of geographic terrain features, roadways going in and out, and also the low population amount. So after we send the Everbridge alert, we go into Genesis and then we flip the zone. And so that's what feeds Watch Duty, and that's what feeds a bunch of other apps and tablet commands. I will say that I have learned that Watch Duty, I have my own gripes about it. It doesn't appear to be auto-fed. So the fastest way to still receive alerts is to sign up for Jackson Alerts and then also download the Genesis Protect app. That is not an official alerting mechanism, but it is just another way that we can potentially reach people. A lot of issues that we ran into last year was a lot of our fires were in non-cell phone service areas on the Pacific Crest Trail. I am happy to announce that the cell phone providers have done a better job of providing cell phone service in these areas, and people were still receiving WIAs along the PCT. That's pretty cool, the fact that these are usually barren areas. We still double back up with the sheriff's office going and doing patrols to make sure that people are clear of those areas. But that's just something that we learned last year, was that the WIAs were actually performing very well. Other than that, Genesis, tablet command, we're also implementing temporary evacuation points this year. So basically what we've done is we looked at county-owned properties, since we talked to a few like stores, Walmarts, community centers, and said, hey, do you want to have a mutual aid agreement? They're like, no. We want to help, but we don't want a legal document binding us to the county and all that stuff, which is fair. So Walmart still is wanting to help. I remember like the Eagle Point Rays, they're very excited. I know there's a few stores in Wood River that are also interested in being taking evacuation points. But the goal of a temporary evacuation point is to buy the county and first responders time to figure out if evacuations are going to go overnight. So that allows people to go somewhere, park, there's no services, there's no bathrooms, food, or water. It's supposed to be maybe 1 to 2 hours. And then our STAR folks or some park staff are going to go there and help manage that with folks. So again, it gives the people somewhere to go, so that way when we evacuate the area, they're not just driving in a random direction, or it's incredibly stressful. So if they need someplace to go, the cops or the firefighters on scene can direct them to the spot. There are a couple in Road River specifically. There are county, I think Valley Road is one of the closest ones. But like I said, the goal is to be super temporary. It is not to get out of your car really, and it's only to wait until further information is available. And any questions? All right, 30,000.
When people evacuate to the temporary evacuation zones, I'm curious if there's one in the area, but, are they, is information collected to help know who has evacuated and who hasn't? Or are they just told, go there and wait for further word? I mean,
Yeah, so the SAR and the park staff deploy there, and so they're in contact with Unified Command to see if it's going to go. See shelters.
what I'm actually asking is information from the people that have evacuated and somehow transmit that back to responding resources so that we know, that the Mrs. Smith hasn't been accounted for. We need to focus on getting to Mrs. Smith's house and make sure she's out.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So normally door to door happens in a level 1 and a level 2. When it comes to level 3, specifically in rural areas, that is a big concern. People have a lot of locked gates that law enforcement can't go up to. So,
Back you up to the 1, 2, 3, say that again.
so the evacuation levels for the state of Oregon, level 1, level 2.
Right, which is be prepared and it's serious and get out. Yeah.
Be ready.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Go. Yeah, so when it comes to accountability, there's really no great solution to this.
Okay.
So when it comes to level 3s, the JCSO is going to be the best that they can to go confirm that people are out of the area. But it's really incumbent upon people to do their own community level checks because nobody knows that your neighbor is gone like you do. And if you know their gate code, then you can go up and check if it's a level 1 or a level 2. But if it's a level 3, then I always recommend getting out of the area. But there's really no good level of.
No accountability to who has and hasn't.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kind of piggyback on his question. It sounds like you have a lot of software. And so you guys collect data in your department. Interface with the sheriff who does
Nice.
the have a lot of tools, I guess.
Yeah.
Computers and stuff like that. Are those your pre-plans? Is there pre-planning taking place for fires?
What type of treatment?
Pre-plan, have you reached out to community groups, who's disabled, who can't get out, which people are maybe don't have cell phones? Have you done any of that?
So in a way, yeah. So when it comes to no cell phones, I have not canvassed the county to see who has a cell phone. When it comes to like ODHS or the Oregon Department of Health and Human Services and Oregon Health Authority, even Pacific Power, there's a lot of agencies in this game that do check on people to see what their current status is. And that's not just for evacuations, but also for power outages because they usually have durable medical equipment. So there's a lot of people reaching out and contacting these people. So we have worked with the Rogue Valley Council of Governments and the Rogue Valley COAD, and usually these NGOs are the most appropriate agencies for actually going into the community. Because one, community trust government like it does their own nonprofits, right? And two, these people have active accounts. I don't manage any accounts. And so we do public outreach, but I don't do any canvassing for cell phones or individual.
But I mean, that's, you wouldn't be asking Pacific Power to help figure this out in an emergency situation.
So we do communicate during evacuations. If for some reason ODHS and Pacific Power can't get a hold of somebody and they direct them to me and I send a deputy out to go check on them.
Okay, how would that work in like a large scale event? Do they have the resources? It sounds like it's a very kind of just distributed.
Well, last year we evacuated more people in the Republic 8 than we did in Almeda. And we followed this process. And so our public health
Okay, so
does,
that's
yeah. So our public health does have a call center stood up, but also, like I said, there are about 6 different agencies that have jurisdiction over specifically people that have medical issues or disability. And so they are reaching out and then that information is relayed to you. But like I said, our community is so strong and usually it's taken care of because everybody knows their neighbors and who needs help. And it's been really phenomenal to see the community really step up to help the neighbors.
So during a large event, you have a activated county EOC,
Not necessarily, it depends upon the situation.
and it depends on the size of the event or the affected people or the amount of staff you have available or.
I actually have full staff. It's pretty amazing. The county departments have really stepped up over the last couple of years. So county staff is not a problem. It just depends on complexity, size is kind of portion of it, but like we can have a really large fire like Salt Creek. And my battle tempo is really low. Like I'm just checking in with the team that's here or was here. And making sure that the evacuation levels in place are good. I don't even think we had a shelter stood up for that, so it just depends upon the
So
situation.
we wouldn't expect to see a EOC representative at the at the command post or anything. You're just gonna check in periodically and see if they need anything different.
My into unified command is through the sheriff's office, so it'd be,
Can't do it very well.
so my into the unified command would be through the sheriff's office. It'd be through that evacuation coordinator. And then I would be checking in with my health and human services on the shelter status.
Okay.
But yeah, so EOC, I wouldn't be sending out a liaison. If anything, I would be requesting one if I had a fully spun up emergency operations center.
Have you ran into a situation in your time here where the impacted community only had a single point of access and that ingress egress was in active fire and not maybe there were trees across it?
There's been several fires and there has been one primary ingress and egress, but I haven't heard of any issues with the transportation.
Okay. In that situation, how would that be approached? We have a drainage here that has about 700-800 people. That is, it could be easily be cut off in a single way. You thought about replanning that, or what kind of resources could you throw at that? If be on their own.
I'd have to see it to see how wide the road is. There's a couple other different factors that we can do, but usually using contraflow is the most effective. It's when you open up both lines of the roadway for the same direction of travel.
Sure.
But that takes kind of a few resources from roads to actually direct people to do it.
Yeah.
But I could look at this area and have questions about.
Okay. Yeah. I'll show you if they have any. There's this drain right here. It's Wards Creek. So it's-
Okay,
You go out the station, head back on River Road, take the first right, up in this valley right here.
I think I met with the Wards Creek Initiative gal, and she has identified that as an area that needs more fuel reduction then.
As you're developing all these plans and everything, I know your department is an all-risk agency, not specific for fire. You deal with anything from slow rise flood, class floods, civil disobediences, et cetera, et cetera. How often do you do tabletop exercise or functional exercise with other jurisdictions?
So we have what I call What If Wednesdays. And that's basically where we invite people into the EOC, one, to get them familiar with sort of the mechanisms of how it functions, but also to do that doomsday planning. And honestly, I leverage tabletop exercises as a way to put you in a mindset and contemplate the unthinkable, rather than practice the skill sets. And then 1 hour is a tabletop, the next hour is practicing the ICS forms or the instant command system forms that the EOC uses.
Now, is that characteristically just county participation, or are you getting participation from outside jurisdictions also?
We've done outside jurisdictions as well. It's hard to coordinate schedules, and that's a 2-hour block, but I'm always interested if somebody wants to come play in my sandbox.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Richmond, MOND.
Are there any other questions?
Okay, what's your number? 541 774 2801.
The council will be fine.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We'll come there.
Oh, I love it. Okay. And I can also host and facilitate tabletops somewhere else too. So I can I participate in at least 4 exercises a month for other people. Most recently was the evacuation drill at the VA yesterday. So
Have you had, being that this is an alternate site for an EOC, have you thought of having any exercises here? Reviewed our site, compatibility for your needs as an EOC?
I haven't. I don't have this listed as a backup account. So we can check that out.
Okay.
The only thing I'd like to add is if we can continue to get the zone map out there, because I talked to neighbors and there's still confusion about what's that 4-digit number? Where am I? You know, where's the boundary? So any of that we get out there, I think still continues to help people understand it.
Thank you.
Questioning the zones. This has been picked up by the state, and we're not the only state doing this, but two, it took us sending out alerts down from 20 minutes down to 2. So for the Hilton Road fire, we were able to issue a level 2 in 2 minutes. So going from 20 minutes to 2 to get out evacuation notifications is really incredible. Before we had the zones, it would be us talking to a sergeant on the street, trying to get a description of the area to draw a shape within our mass notification system. And that's really difficult, especially as the fire is moving. You'd have to draw the shape, delete it, and then try to get like north of this road, south of this house, west of this, like trying to draw that was really impossible. So I understand that people have frustration with the zones, especially since they're bigger and it's hard to memorize. But ultimately, I want people to know that if you are receiving and have signed up for Jackson Alert saying JCSO has issued, if you see that in your text message or in your voicemail, that means your house or an address that you've registered is impacted. So that's the biggest thing. If you want to receive all evacuation notifications for Jackson County, you can do that. Some people, I've got 35,000 people that want to receive all evacuation notifications, and you can text Jackson EVACs to 888-777, and you'll receive everything. Just know that you have to be able to discern that that's from Jackson EVACs and not impacting you per se, but the JCSO text message is the difference. It will say JCSO in the beginning instead of Jackson EVACs. Cool.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
the brief overview, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, thank you guys. I hope you have a great day, and definitely let me know if there's any areas of concern. I can come back out and look at drainage ditches and roadways and stuff. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. All righty, moving on to the budget hearing. And Mike, I'll let you go ahead and bring this one. We're going to go into a public comment section for any comments on the budget that we have.
So I just have the resolution in front of me, which is to dispose the tax. We did hold a budget meeting, which was open to the public, and public comment specifically didn't get any specific public comment. So the purpose of this hearing is to hear public. Otherwise, we will just impose, find the resolution, impose the tax budget. You like me to read the?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, imposing the tax. Be it further resolved, by the way, I'm on page 3 of your board packet if you want to follow me. Be it further resolved that the Board of Directors for the Jackson County Fire District 1 hereby imposes the taxes provided for in the adopted budget at the rate of $1.9313 per thousand of assessed value for permanent rate tax and 80 cents per thousand of assessed value for local option tax and 25 cents per thousand of assessed value for the capital levy tax, and that these taxes hereby imposed and categorized for tax year 2026-27 upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district as follows. And then it lists the tax rates that I had stated.
Okay. Hearing no public comment. Board comment. Okay. A motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
In second. Roll call vote.
John Foster,
Yes.
Randy Court,
Yes.
John Ellis,
Yes.
Jim Stearns,
Yes.
and Craig Barry.
Yes.
Ready. Moving on, safety committee minutes. Board comments or?
Just want to comment that it looks like they are spending nearly an hour now. I appreciate that there's a lot more discussion taking place.
Ready. Board of Directors, regular meeting session minutes.
I'm going to do these individually, John.
I could do them individually, or we can take them all as a group if you would like.
Well, if they're individually, I'd approve the regular session meeting minutes of May 20th as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Budget meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the budget meeting minutes as presented here in the packet.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Special session.
Can to approve special session meeting,
Second.
minutes.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
And we come back to safety committee.
Port Drive. Which is a safety committee?
Yeah.
Okay. Thought we did that one.
We did that one. I'm just looking for,
Move we approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All righty, finance reports.
Since the IRS approved our name change, we have been interacting with our financial relationships, specifically Columbia Bank. And Columbia Bank is moving forward. We're just about through that process. One of the requirements is going to be that most of you in this room, including Jenna and I, will have to go in and re-sign on cards and take pictures. So that's going to be, I think, everybody except Randy Court. And we will get back to you when you do that. We did have a couple of pretty large expenses. We had a powered gurney broken, and the hydraulics on it went out. It cost $9,200 to fix it. That's expensive, but everything Stryker is expensive. I think you're going to see that expense actually hit next month instead of right now. And then we also spent $4,200 on vehicle maintenance. One of those things was 100,000 mile service on Medic 40. We anticipated that. And then we had repair of a boost pump on Medic 40 and repair of an airline on engine 40. But we're still tracking okay on apparatus maintenance.
Did you say the repair on that was $9,000?
Yes.
I understand that stuff is very specialized and very unique and stuff, but, you know, I'm a maintenance guy. I have to bite into it a little bit. I mean, I don't know if we can look at a local source. I mean, hydraulics are hydraulics. And so anyways, I'm not second guessing.
Yeah, no, I completely understand.
Yeah,
They make a killing because it's a medical device.
understood. But a lot of times somebody can fix it and who's not in that group for a lot of more reasonable cost.
Yeah.
I do it every day.
I think the issue is, just they assume a lot of liability if it
Sure,
were to fail.
absolutely,
Situations.
totally. Yeah,
And
you
they
want it.
purposely get you into warranty problems with that.
Yeah, I get that too. I just, that was.
You know, if I buy a battery from them, it costs 4 times what it would cost me to buy it from anybody else.
I do totally understand the OEM and how they work with that stuff, but yeah.
What's the replacement, what's a new one cost?
A used one is about, I think a new one's about 26,000.
Wow, they're pretty amazing. I got to test run one. It was pretty cool. Going to Portland.
That's probably the one we had to fix.
I broke it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate
Any
it.
questions or comments on the finance?
Motion to approve is as submitted.
Second?
Roll call vote, please.
John Foster.
Yes.
Randy Court.
Yes.
Sean Ellis.
Yes.
Jim Stern.
Yes.
And Craig Brady.
Yes.
Right, correspondent. Okay. Randy, did you want to talk about correspondence at this point?
Yeah, I'd just like to talk a little bit about our newspaper article and our letter from the union. I missed that meeting, as the newspaper pointed out. wasn't out of town. I was on a telemed visit with OHSU trying to save this ankle or foot that I've got. I've had 4 surgeries on it in the last 6 months. And anyways, that's why I missed that meeting. The paper kind of made it sound like maybe I didn't attend the meeting for some other reason. But anyways, I hate to see that kind of an article and that kind of press letter, because it's really unhealthy for our fire district. You've got a board here that does a lot of good things to try to keep the district moving along in a positive direction. And yeah, there may be at times there's discussion or sometimes it gets heated between board members. Usually there's a very few public involved. We had kind of a contentious or a issue, the solar thing, where there was a lot of board or community people besides board people interacting. And it was good. Opinions were shared. Nothing got out of hand. Nothing, was a drastic problem. We've had those kind of discussions before. In my history of being on the board here, which I just brought this along so maybe the newspaper could see that I've been around here for 26 years, and then I came back and for a second term and then won a 4-year term. So I've been here about 32 years observing a lot of meetings, a lot of board meetings. I've been kind of unimpressed with the paper because they kind of quit coming to our meetings. They used to attend. And I remember when one of your reporters, Brad Smith, used to fall asleep in our morning meetings and had to be reprimanded quite a few times. But we haven't seen a lot of presence of the newspaper. But I feel like we need to all pull together, the union. I mean, we're the guys down here that are trying to get you guys the tax measures passed. We want to get your buildings, your infrastructure, your equipment. We fight to try to keep your wages up at a good level, your benefits. And this is all stuff that the board does. We do it with no pay. We spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, we take a lot of documents and data home at our home offices. We work through stuff. We come back to these public meetings. Sometimes we attend other meetings, alliance meetings and things. And these are all things that I think the board really is not being totally appreciated. And that letter, and I also scold the newspaper for blowing that into something that really didn't need that kind of coverage. Sensationalism sells newspapers, but let's all pull together for our community fire district. We have a really great service here with the ambulance service, with the fire district. The community should really be thrilled that what we have here for them. A couple of last points I would like to make, just because to talk a little bit about who we are as a board. You can go right around the room and talk about our board members. Mr. Foster here has done a ton of community work, community policing. He's on the Gold Hill Irrigation District Board. Again, all non-paying positions, just donating his time. Director Barry here has done probably more than a lot of us here. He's been involved. He was a volunteer at the fire district. He's pushed for a lot of these different programs we all may not agree with and we may have discussion about, but nevertheless, Director Barry has spent a ton of time, his own time and his own money, pushing for things like the solar project and the LED lighting upgrade and other things here in the district. Mr. Stearns here, I know he's done a lot of work with this here. He was our chief, interim chief. And I'm sure if I went back to his community he grew up in, his name would be all over volunteer work in the community. This is the type of people that these board people typically are. Director Ellis, same thing. I don't know his history locally where he grew up, but I have a feeling he was probably involved in a lot of community things. So we come down here as community people trying to do the right thing to keep our fire district moving along and in good shape and condition. Now, since you opened this can of worms, you're going to get to hear about me. I've been on the fire district board for 32 years. I used to be a lot more involved locally here with the guys when we were younger and we had kids. I played Santa Claus at one of the Christmas parties. Nice thin guy like me playing Santa Claus. Rogue River Chamber of Commerce, 20 plus years, past president several years. By the way, we did have 7:30 meetings at Valley at the Rogue Bank back in the day. Rogue River Little League, board member, past president, for 2 years. We had 250 kids in our Little League club in those particular years. And if you want to clear your calendar for 6 months of anything family-wise, just become a Little League board president, because that's brutal. Involved in putting on the Rooster Crow, the Timber Carnival, the Christmas tree lighting, hands-on, putting the lights on the poles, setting up the parade at the chamber, 4-H leader for many years, shooting sports. I've been involved in boat rescues. We had a tour boat business in the community down here in the park before the fire district had a marine division. Oftentimes Jackson County or somebody would get a hold of me to go out and try to help with the rescue because I was a boat that was there available quickly. One last thing I just was going to mention, and it's really kind of a curiosity, is the monument that's out front that has our past directors and things, the brickwork that when you come into the building. So our company, I got all that material donated, and myself and George and Steve Pergin, a couple of Mason friends of mine, built that. And again, volunteer labor. And what was interesting is I had a hard time getting my company to donate the brick because we bid on the construction material for this building and lost the bid. So when I went to my company owner and begged for a freebie to put that in, I got some kind of pushback, but we got it done. So those are just a few of the little things that I've done or our board does here in the community. And I think we need to be really respected by the union firefighters, the union group, and everybody in the community. We're elected by the members of the community. We're not appointed. We don't hire on here with a resume. We're elected, and we try to do the best job we can. We try to get you guys good equipment, get you guys good personnel, and try to keep your wages and things going and keep the community happy with us. So that's it. Thank you.
I just make a quick comment. I could go on and on, but I won't. It amazes me, the reaction we're getting on this decorum thing. I bet you we can go home, any one of us right now, and turn on the C-SPAN or any other channel. You're gonna see our country leaders, the Democrats and Republicans, the House of Representatives, the Senate, all the defense things. Those folks yell and scream, and they drop the F-bomb, and they challenge each other to fistfights almost. And we're in this situation right now because of the comment I apparently made, which it had to do with Barry's army. That's pretty doggone offensive, I think. But anyway, I think we're just blowing this all out of proportion. Can't compete with Randy as far as backgrounds and all that. But let's just get on with business, what we're supposed to be doing, and not worrying about how the meetings are held. And if you're gonna write another letter, put the individual's name in there. I don't know for a fact that it was me, but I'm pretty sure it is. So why do you even go to all the trouble of generating? It was a great letter, by the way. Was. And then not point the finger at who you're talking about. If you're gonna have the guts to write the letter, have the guts to point the fingers directly at that individual. That's my comment.
And the only thing I could just back up, add real quick, I only remember in my years here in board meeting, I only remember the F word being used in a public setting in this meeting one time. Craig, you might remember that.
I remember all kinds of curse words and misogyny coming from you as well.
From who?
You. So let's not start pointing fingers. I want to thank the press. I think the press did a good job reporting. And I think that the public have spoken with several members afterwards about this and they felt extremely slighted. They came down here to look at the operations. And I think that asking the union to point fingers is missing the point. The union is coming to the full board and asking the full board to police themselves.
Then why don't
So that's
they?
why I'm asking for this meeting.
Why do they bother to write the letter then? It's
You're
meaningless.
welcome to come to the meeting in public anytime.
It doesn't mean a darn thing.
We will be addressing this. We're gonna have an agendized item. We'll get into a discussion.
We need to correct the situation. We can address it a million times, and we're not gonna solve the problem. It needs to be some direction on that, my opinion.
Address it and will be direction. had discussions previously at previous board meetings regarding our decorum. We have our rules on how we are conduct ourselves as board members, and we'll follow those.
Good, and I look forward to the meeting.
Okay. Moving on to old business. Let's talk about the solar grant.
So the time to accept proposals is over. It was over at 4 o'clock on Friday, the preceding Friday, and I received 4 proposals. I have not opened them and read them. I would prefer to do that with a group that is assigned by this board. Go through the proposals, make sure that they meet the minimum requirements as established by the RFP, and then make a presentation to the board and board meeting on which one to accept. So I'm requesting the board to give me at least one board, then I can use staff members. If you want to give me, however many you want.
All right.
And the purpose is to read through these and see if they are responsive bidders to the terms of the contract.
Correct.
I would propose Greg, because he's probably the most intimately knowledgeable about what's contained within that.
I would accept that.
So you and Craig and staff do those.
Okay.
And present at the next board meeting.
Do you want to establish a time?
Yeah, we can talk after this meeting.
Okay.
If that's all right. Yeah.
Alrighty.
One other, just a quick discussion point on the solar grant. I did read through the requests, and I didn't see anything noted in there about the equipment, the inverters and all the switch gear and panels being USA made. And you guaranteed us early on that that would be USA made equipment. So I just want to make sure that's clarified.
What I said earlier was that if we didn't drag our feet and we got this project to completion before July 1st, that this year, that any USA made components would allow us to take a federal grant. Not a grant. It's basically a refund. It's not credit. It's not something off your taxes. It's a federal monies that come directly to you to install this type of infrastructure. So even though we weren't spending any money, that we had several $100,000 that we could actually get back from it if we did not waste time and got to the finish line before July 1st. And that is the motivation to do the USA everything.
So
the panels are USA made, the racks are USA made, not certain about the inverters.
see,
But the motivation, and they are assembled in the US, but the motivation was if, like, for example, two gentlemen here who, when we went back and when I first came to you and said, I would like to apply for this grant, I had unanimous consent. Okay, unanimous consent to go forward. That unanimous consent evaporated once the grant was given. So now we are not eligible for that unless we move forward quickly, have a board meeting, and they actually do some work before July 1st.
you better have some good documents to back that up, because I don't remember any of that big, long speech you just gave about the equipment. I remember me personally asking, we want USA components. I'm sick of China and all of this low grade, unwarrantyable equipment and switchgear that I see in the industry. So let's get back to giving the news.
I had better have. What does that mean?
Yeah, I want to
What
see
does
that.
that mean?
I never remember
that-
hearing any of that about these grants and refunds and stuff.
What does that
It's
mean?
it's real simple. Made in the USA equipment. That's all I'm asking for. It was very simple.
What do you mean I had better have? Is that,
Well, if you have
What
all
is the
this, if
follow-through
you
on
said
that?
this to me, I don't recall it.
okay, well,
So if it's in the minutes or something, I could
if
see
you
it.
would like to review hours and days of board meetings, they've all been recorded.
No, that's great, but
They're
I
all
just,
out there. Ask Jenna to do it. She'll find it. So most of them have AI transcription. You can find it.
I
I'm not going
want-
to find it for
I
you.
want USA equipment.
Okay.
I'm an American. I support USA business people and that's what I want. And you guaranteed that verbally to us in a meeting. I think we could find that the switchgear and all of this stuff was USA. We don't want Solyndra or stuff that's going to be falling apart.
The
We
pound,
have some bids that are going to be reviewed. Reviewing of those bids, I think there'll be an opportunity to identify what type and manufacturer of equipment is in those bids. And at the meeting that we're going to be having where we're going to be discussing those bids, I think that can occur at that time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Are we gonna have the opportunity to comment on how this whole thing's gonna gel together and work? Or is that already gone by? Because I was told by you several times, offline, not at a regular meeting. I had concerns and you kept telling me, don't worry about it. They're never gonna get the money to do this. It's not gonna happen. It's gonna go away. To that effect. And now, here we are. On the verge of having the thing out there. And I have a lot of questions. I could just hit a couple of them real quick. One is, how is this gonna interface with the generator? When this thing's all installed and ready to go, and the generator's unplugged. How do we know it's gonna function? We don't know it's gonna function until we run it. And if we
Generator.
do away with that backup power, we're gonna have a real emergency.
So to respond to your questions and directly, Joe,
Mm-hmm.
is one, yes, you are going to have an opportunity to do that because at the next meeting, when we have the bids, the board has to vote if we are going to approve the bids or not. So as we get into these bids, those questions that you do have, that's the opportunity to
Because I got
address.
a bunch of questions.
Yeah, to address that, because right now, we haven't opened the bids. So being that we haven't opened the bids, we don't know what the content of those bid packages are. Now, the specs were written by Craig and everything, following a boilerplate from other grants and everything. And the bidders had to meet the minimum of this bid requirements. You're in contracting, you're familiar with that, and you're familiar with the bidding process. So that's where we're at right now. And as soon as we open those bids, we'll have an opportunity to discuss them and review them. And then the board will vote on.
I have, like I say, I have a lot of comments and some of them are right out of this paper from, if this is dated February 8th. There's a real interesting statement by Mr. I left my glasses at home.
I did too.
The ones I'm supposed to read with. Stephen Bitzel, he's the operating director for the district of down in Ashland School District. I'm just gonna go ahead and read this right now. It's just a short paragraph. The Ashland School District installed solar panels at Ashland Middle School in 2024, underwritten by a school bond at a cost of around 1.1 million. The district looked into installing batteries as well, but decided against it as intended and is untested and expensive. That's according to the operations manager, Steve Mitchell. And I think that's exactly where we are, untested. We don't know anything about this. We're gonna have the emergency if it doesn't work, is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a little embarrassing when you throw the light switch and the lights don't go on. So anyway, we'll get to that, as you pointed out, at the meeting.
If I could just add one real quick thing to that, I think that the understanding is our current backup power is remaining intact.
Yes.
Our generate.
Correct.
Yeah, our generation. So the solar is going to be, on top of that plus our utilities. So
yeah,
it's the switch gear and stuff will be complicated and interesting, but it will remain intact.
we have a critical loads panel that'll go directly into, if the solar battery's not there, the generator will kick on.
Okay, that's what we want to make sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Moving on. Discussion
Thank you,
about
John.
meeting time. At the last board meeting, there was discussion that was brought up about looking into the possibility of changing our meeting times. In that, I asked that we do a Facebook page, reaching out to the public to see what kind of feedback we would get from the public. And when I looked at it last, there was only 5 or 6 people that responded to that. So open for discussion at this point. Rest of the board.
I didn't vote. I didn't get mine in.
Well, the only thing I can comment on that is if we switch to the as proposed, it's gonna be a real impact on 2 of your best employees. Jenna and Gina, they're both housewives, moms. They got a lot of stuff on their plate. And it's gonna require them to change their schedules as far as getting babysitters. Especially Jenny, because of her husband's schedule. He can't say, okay, I'll watch the kids tonight. It's gonna be a real impact on them. And I think we have a real problem trying to replace either one of them. They're both, as far as I know, excellent employees. They've taken ownership to their job. It's not just a job. It's that they've taken ownership to it. A lot of extracurricular activity they do. I could come at the change time. It would be inconvenient. I'm getting to that point where you understand why old people don't like to drive at night. And I wouldn't want to be driving home in a snowstorm, especially around here, deer jumping out in front of you. I can live with it, but it's a huge impact to accommodate basically one individual, Mr. Berry, that started this, because he couldn't get time off from some company that we don't even know who that is. I would think being the trusted, valued employee that he is, he could work a flex schedule. So to change this whole operation as far as what time we hold these meetings to accommodate him.
I think that the intent was, it's not to accommodate any one of us individually.
That's what started.
Well, let me finish that. The intent was to see if there was a public desire. As Randy stated earlier, we're all here to serve our constituents.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to reach out to those constituents and ask what works best for them. I have to admit, we now have a group of folks that are showing up for our morning meetings. We have active participation. The other thing I think that is working to our advantage also, and it was evident when we did our outreach for our levy, is our meetings are being recorded. And individuals have the opportunity to go back and look at the meetings as they're being reported. And I would hope if there was an issue or there was a concern by somebody in the public that they would see that and they have the option to reach out either to one of us board members or come and participate at the next. So.
How's that worked out? Have you had anybody do exactly what you just explained?
Well, when we were doing the levy, the chief was able to see how many people actually viewed.
I think that number was about 1,200.
Right.
Correct me if I'm.
And what was their response? Did they come to the meeting?
No, they just are viewing.
Informational.
Informational, they're reviewing it. And I think their response is we were successful in passing our levy. Because they saw what our levy was about and why it was necessary. So there was a response, but that response was when the vote came in supporting our levy.
Yeah, and I think the point behind that would just be that the public has access to our meeting without actually coming to the meeting. So it's not like, so speaking on behalf of the staff, me and my staff would very much prefer to keep the meeting in the morning. Do the convenience of my staff having to work late, and then there's overtime costs associated with that. And we feel like we are available to the public for the reasons that John stated.
I asked to have greater public participation. That was my goal. I do have a job, so after the meeting that made it in the paper, tried to go to the bathroom after the meeting. John attempted to follow me into the bathroom. Came out of the bathroom, he was standing there and demanded I tell him where I work. Yes, I do have a full-time job. I have to commute. But But it's not about, yes, you did. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the community. I know we'll have more community participation if we meet in the evenings. As far as staff goes, Jenna, you work 4 days a week. So you should be here, you get here by 8. At 7, so you should be here till 5:30 if you're taking a half-hour lunch. Right?
No, it's a compensated.
It's compensated. Okay, so you should be here till 5. And right, that's your compensated. So if we could meet earlier in the day at 4 o'clock, I know that the days that you're available, because you teach at RCC Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday during school for 3 hours. You teach an online class, but you're also there. You're also present there as well in the.
I have to be there, Craig. Yeah, and it's
I
in
understand
Wayne
that.
City,
2 days, 3 days a week. But you're available.
4 days a week.
No, it's 2 days. It's 3 days a week. Excuse me.
For who?
For you. It's stated right there on RCC's website.
Not next term.
Not next term. Next term's already posted. It
I don't
says 3
teach
days a
summer
week.
school, so my next term is fall.
Yeah, it's 3 days a week. So you're available Wednesday.
4 days a week. Don't try to read my schedule. You know what? You don't know what I'm doing.
Because it's a public information.
It's not public information into the future.
It is. You can actually.
Really?
That's already there.
We're here to discuss a larger topic. And we need to avoid these personal. I understand, but we need to get back to the topic regarding.
I'd like to make a motion that we keep meetings as they have been time-wise historically for the past 40 years since the district's inception. Been working fine. District's running along pretty smooth. Let's leave it like that. We've got public access with the video stuff. People can attend. 7:30 is no different than 4:30 if you're a retired person. Get up in the morning and enjoy the early morning times.
The Facebook summary was overwhelmingly for afternoons. And we are absolutely the outlier among public agencies, cities, fire departments. Trying to find one that does it this hour is, you'd be hard pressed to do so. So I think that we should explore an afternoon, be at 3:30 in the afternoon if we need to accommodate staff. You have to actually be somewhere you have to leave at 5 o'clock. I was donating blood on Monday and you're here at 5:30 still.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor right now.
I second that.
So for my understanding, the motion is to not change anything. I'm sure that requires a vote. You just move on, but
Well,
anyhow, if you want to vote, we'll vote.
Okay, then, yeah, we could drop that then.
And I guess long, I'm bored for a second, I'll say, I don't care, but I'd sure like to move on from this subject,
Agreed.
to meet anytime, but
And I would agree with Jim, but the other thing too, we have some significant change that's going to be occurring to this department as our current chief is on to retirement, and we're going to be bringing another chief on board. And I would like to defer this. Chief Hammond has said it's working for his staff at this time, and I would like to defer this discussion until another chief is here and have that discussion with that chief, because there's a lot of external ramifications that are involved with that. So that would be my position.
Is that the motion?
Okay.
No, I'm not making a motion. It's just.
but there's a motion in a second.
There's a motion in a second. But if you withdraw your motion.
I can withdraw my motion if you want to push that down the road and leave it status quo, but yeah, I'm not, I will make the motion at the next opportunity to keep it the same.
So we have a motion on the floor in a second. So, and that motion.
I thought he withdrew.
You withdrew?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So with that, if the board is in concurrence, we will move this to further discussion until after we brought on board an
Thank you.
And speaking of that, we have the chief's contract to discuss. I was in touch with the district's attorney to come up with a 6-month extension contract for Chief Hammond as we're going through the recruitment process for our future chief. This contract basically mirrors what the chief currently is doing in his role. However, puts it into a contract employee, allowing the chief to retire with Cal first. Oregon first. All right, that was my
That would be
bad.
nice.
That was my bad, yeah. So, what we have before you is that contract. It was reviewed by district council for correctness and everything. And, we have it before you for review and comment.
So this contract is substantially the same as the previous contract. So for compensation, I took my current salary and added 2.7% CPI raise, COLA raise, which is the same raise that the represented employees will be getting. And I added 15 hours of sick leave per pay period, which is what I'm getting now. Maintained my holidays, requested 30 hours vacation per pay period,
What year are you currently getting per pay period?
15 hours,
So you
a little over 15.
So you doubled your vacation.
And that's because right now I have a substantial bank of hours that I'm sitting on. So if I decide I want to take a few days off and go somewhere, I can do that. I won't have a very large bank of hours.
If I can address that correct, basically, when the chief retires, he goes down to 0 in his vacation accrual. What will occur is there'll be a preloaded vacation accrual under his contract at the front of the contract. It's either a use or lose type situation. It's not a refundable type thing. If the chief, let's say, only uses 10 hours of vacation, that remaining vacation that was accrued is lost. So that's how that works.
What's the pay period? Is it a month?
28 days.
Days?
And so the period of time would be from July 1 of 2026 to December 31st of 2026. I kind of picked that period because it's about the amount of time it takes to recruit a replacement for me. But I also put a clause in here that says we can extend it on a monthly basis, at a mutual agreement of the two parties.
This contract just was a meeting with the chief and Jim Stearns and I, where we went through in detail the contract, what we see now. And then we sent it to council for review. Any questions?
I'd make a motion to approve the employment agreement as submitted.
I'd second that.
Motion in a second. Roll call, vote, please.
John Foster,
Yes.
Randy Fort,
Yes.
Sean Ellis,
Yes.
Jim Stearns,
Yes.
Craig Barry.
So 3 months of severance if we were to terminate him, that was not in the earlier discussion. Did that get changed? Existing contract. I thought that we had gone down to a 1 month. severance.
1 month. Was notification.
Just noted.
He notifies the board.
All right, yes.
All right. Moving on to the chief's hiring process.
So I think, everyone has a copy of the timeline, for the process. At our special meeting, we met and reviewed the, advertisement, the hiring advertisement, and we had a few changes to that, so I'd like to distribute, clean copy to everybody. There you go.
That's okay, you pass those around.
Um, also, you authorized me to sign the, contract with SDAO for services on this. I have done that, have not mailed it off. I thought we'd send it on, but everybody, there's a copy of that agreement for everyone. We had, gone through the position description, the job description. No significant changes to that, and here's your copy of that job description. Everyone's review. And, if you want to look through those items and make sure that I captured the changes you want, I think, if I could speak to the advertisement, the one with the blue on the cover first. Qualifications for successful applicant. We included a few more into that had 3. We dropped from a bachelor's degree down to an associate's degree because that's what the current job description requires. Number 4, I added in there a valid Oregon driver's license or the ability to obtain and be insurable by the district's insurance provider. Number 5 was added in there, the proven ability to work within NIMS, which is National Incident Management System, and ICS, which is Incident Command System, at command level, ability to effectively assume command of both initial and extended attack is needed. And number 6, to work cooperatively with the local, state, and federal partners in unified command. Then added the little catch-all at the bottom that says any satisfactory combination of experience, training, skills, and ability that demonstrates the above may be considered. So if someone comes in and they've got an outstanding background and experience, but they don't have that associate's degree, it leaves it up to us to consider if that's equal to. And then we added desirable qualifications, which include a bachelor's degree in fire administration, public administration, or related field, paramedic or past experience working as a paramedic. And I put that in even though our chief suggested that the chief shouldn't be a paramedic because of skill degradation. I think, I want to discuss this with you guys. I think the background in it is probably a real benefit, so you understand what those people are doing out in the field and working with it. So I think there's a real benefit to that. It's not a requirement, but it'd be desirable.
Yeah, they could let their certification lapse at that point.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
worry about it.
And then live within the district boundaries within 6 months of employment. And again, that's not a firm requirement, but that what I got from our meeting was that would be our preference. Desirable. Other than that, I think everything stayed the same as it was when we reviewed it. And what I'm looking for is, as it says in our timeline, try this like this. At this meeting, it says the regular board meeting will to approve the final job description, the benefit package, and the selection process timeline. So I'm looking for a motion to approve those items so we can get them submitted.
No changes to the timeline?
I'm sorry?
No changes to the
I
timeline?
made no changes to that timeline same as one I presented at the last meeting.
Had an opportunity to review Jim's material.
Make a motion to approve, but I don't know quite how to word it. What Jim has presented.
I would suggest we just use the verbiage that was in the timeline. That you would make a motion to approve the final job description, the benefit package, and the selection process and timeline.
What Jim said, I add to my motion. Thank you. Lazy today.
I'll second that.
We'll call vote.
John Foster.
Yes.
Reed Port.
Yes.
Sean Ellis.
Yes.
Jim Stern.
Yes.
Jim Craig.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
We'll get
Jim.
this all submitted up.
Thanks for your work on that, Jim.
Sure.
Chief, resolution R 25-2611. Use salary and benefits.
So this is resolution R 25-26011. In matter of authorizing the salary and benefit schedule for fiscal year 2026-2027. International Association of Firefighters Local 3513 firefighter bargaining unit proposal. So without reading the whole resolution, what this does is authorizes a 2.7% increase in their base salary. And that was negotiated at the beginning of the current contract, so it will go into effect July 1st.
A motion, we approve resolution R 2025-2026-011.
Second?
Let's call vote, please.
John Foster.
Yes.
Reed Port.
Yes.
Sean Ellis.
Yes.
Jim Stern.
Yes.
Chief's comments.
I don't have much to say other than, we had previously hired 3 seasonal firefighters. But since then in the process of trying to hire one of them full-time staff. And it looks like that's going well. That will be a great addition to the fire district full-time instead of just for the season. However, that does open up a seasonal firefighter position. I do have an individual in mind that I'll be interviewing today who looks really good and really promising. So I think that's going to go well.
You say you're hiring full-time. Did we have one of our full-time employees leave us?
He is in the final process at Fire District 5. The only other thing I have for you in chief comments is I did receive notification that the grant for our reader board did not get funded.
Were you going to mention anything about the tentative agreement that we have reached with the union?
That'll be in labor negotiations.
Okay.
So, are transports from other agencies, other ambulance service agencies? I noticed that fell off of your monthly reports. Why is that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a while back, several months ago, we used to always report to a national software program called INFIRS, which stands for National Fire Incident Reporting System. And then they upgraded that a few months ago to a system called NERIS, which is National Emergency Response Information System. And as with any new program like that, there's problems with it. And that's one of the problems. Okay, we're not able to pull that data. But that's a temporary thing that we're working through. And as soon as we're able to pull that data, I'll start providing it to you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, moving on to monthly report.
I have a question about how we go about our hydrant testing. Do we have all the hydrants in our district on a schedule to blow them within a certain amount of years and record pressure?
Captain Gavlik?
So we flush them once a year. The city flushes them once a year. Basically, they get flushed twice a year. And then as far as the actual flow test to see what GPM is, that's every 4 years. The NSPA requirement every 5. But we should prepare for just in case there's a little hiccup. We've got that swap over 1 year as a cushion.
Okay, and they're easy to identify when you get on scene, you know how that hydrants should perform.
Yeah, we keep records of it. Hydrants have stickers with their number on it. I have a Excel spreadsheet that shows this hydrant number is at this particular address so that there's a double check system.
And that's available on the engine, that information is available on the engine.
No, that's not available on the engine, but the hydrant location is in the First Due software. So as time permits, some of that data will go over there. I think currently the latest test is in First Due. So if you click on that hydrant, it'll show 1,425 gallons.
Okay.
So right now you'll have 1 year of data in there to show what that hydrant.
Okay, so they have it, they do that, have that first due on the,
Yes,
on the laptops on the engines.
correct.
Okay, when they go, do you have any poor performers?
We have several poor performers.
Okay.
We have orange hydrants at the very end of north of the road. And we have 1 or 2 that's at the top of 315 West Evans. They have very poor performance. We also found this year several broken hydrants, I think 3 or 4.
Mhm.
So after we were finished with those tests, that list got sent to the city of here's the broken ones that need to get fixed. We had a lot of frozen stems. And so that got sent to the city because they're hydrants, so they have to repair and maintain those.
Okay.
We have identified that and then sent an email to the city.
Did they give you a timeline on how soon those will be fixed?
No.
Are they probably still broken then?
Yes, and the ones that are broken have the black bag taped over it so that it's readily identifiable that's out of service.
Oh, wow.
Captain Gavin, those poor performers, are those assumed to be pipe diameter or age of the system and
It's a combination between pipe diameter and also being at the very, what we call a dead end main. It's not looped.
right?
And whenever you're the last 2 or 3 hydrants at a dead end main, it has very low flow and water pressure.
And is there, I know the city's heavily involved in a new water storage system that's going to be constructed. Will that be a benefit to the distribution system as far as fire flows or?
It'd be a huge benefit
Okay,
because they will have several upgraded pumps which can produce greater volume and greater pressure and also avoid pressure drop off during high use. So when they get their new infrastructure upgraded, it'll really boost water capability system.
Hey, God, but when was the last time ISO did a review of the water system?
If my memory is accurate, I would say we're probably about 12 years. I think we're overdue.
So these poor performers, you have automatic dispatch of the tenders in those areas through the fire.
No, if we have that type of a hydrant, then we either have access through the engine or we're in a non-hydrant area and that water tank is already on the scene and they will choose a better location to refill the tender. So, let me give you an example. Let's say we're going to Twin Bridges and we're going to the large church that's just before Twin Bridges on the left. And we need a lot of water. The closest hydrant is going to be just across from the mill and it's an orange hydrant. I would not use that hydrant. I would set up a filling station here at the fire station because just coming not even an eighth of a mile, there's a huge difference because that hydrant becomes a looped hydrant and it can produce 1,500 gallons. So wherever we would have to go to connect to a hydrant, we would choose a better one rather than
Okay. So all of our hydrants are color coded.
yes.
Okay, so that's, thank you.
I have a question for you.
When you said you reported that to the city, if that's public works,
Yes,
okay, thank you. I'll check on that.
in particular, Mike Bolwick,
Yeah.
he's in charge of that.
He's the one.
All right, thank you. Any other comments on the monthly reports? Ready? Public comment. Opportunity for the public to come on. Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak on the fire chief hiring process. Well, I completely understand the fire chief serves with the will of the board. I would like to, if fire chief is also the face of the fire district to the public. I would like to encourage the board to consider involving a few members of the public selection process.
Well, you hit something that is part of our process. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, and at the special meeting we had, we went into this more in depth. There will be 3 panels that do interview, and one of those is a community panel. And they're not looking at the qualifications of the fire chief as far, there's a technical review committee that does that. They're looking for who of these candidates they think would be the best fit in Rogue River. Best for our community, best for our department. So we'll have a technical committee made up of primarily area fire chiefs or fire administrators that'll look at the technical side of it. We will have a community panel that's looking for the best fit in the community. And we will have the board interview. So we'll go into those 2. The community and the technical panel will probably have, we'll see how many applicants we have. We're going to try to weed it down to 5 semifinalists through the process. So they would look at those 5 and we'll probably ask them to rank them in order. And out of those rankings, we'll try to get it down to 3 for the board interviews. Kind of how now those numbers can vary because if you got 2 that are so close, bring them both in. We want to talk to both, type thing. So yes, but community involvement will be a big part of it, as well as the day before this process, which will be on September. The process will be September 24th. On September 23rd, we're going to have a meet and greet here in this room, and that's open to everybody, where we'll bring those semifinalists in and ask them each to tell us a little bit about themselves and explain why they're interested in being the next fire chief in Rogue River. And everybody there will have an opportunity then in a non-formal setting to talk individually with each of those candidates. And we are looking for your feedback from that. I'll give you a copy of the timeline for the process because it's on there, but the current timeline has the meet and greet on September 23rd in the evening here, and the process will be conducted on September 24th. And on the 24th, the board interviews will be done in executive session. That part is not open to the public, but everything else is.
So the application process for interested community members will be forthcoming this summer.
Yeah, and we, at the last meeting, we said, be thinking about who that is, who's good representation in the public. And
I think we mentioned some.
a couple of the names that came up happen to be here right now, so, we'll move forward.
Any other public comments? All right. Any items that came up after the agenda?
Get a motion on the monthly reports.
I move we approve the monthly reports as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
She keeps me in line too.
I know. All right.
Good catch.
At this time, we're going to go ahead and move into an executive session regarding labor negotiations and performance evaluation.